Welcome to Real Estate Radio Live, an informative and engaging hour discussing everything you need to know about the world of real estate. Your host, Joe Kuchera, provides you with insight and guidance on how to buy, sell, finance, and invest in real estate. He also offers real estate tax management strategies, new construction advice, home improvement tips, and much, much more. And now, to guide you around the world of real estate, here's your host and Real Estate Radio Live team leader, Joe Kuchera.
Welcome in. Good afternoon. Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. Thank you so much for spending some time with us this afternoon as we are on our way through yet a new week, November 1st. And hard to believe we are right around the corner from Thanksgiving and Christmas, but here we go. Wrapping up 2017. Hopefully it's been a healthy, prosperous year for those out there. Just a reminder before we get started into our topic today, you could listen to the show a couple different ways, and we try to do what we can to provide the options for you so that you can do that on your time schedule at your convenience. So one is on the radio at KDOW 1220 AM. You could tune in during 3 to 4 o'clock every day, Monday through Friday, Pacific Daylight Time. KDOW 1220 AM. If you're on the radio, if you're not near a radio or you don't have one of those radios that are from the 19th century, then you could go online. And if you go online to kdow.biz, that is the radio website. Then you could just click on the tab there that says Listen Live. So if you have access to internet connection, you could listen to the show live online during this time frame from 3 to 4 Pacific Daylight Time, Monday through Friday. Also, we have the podcast for you. That's the one that's most popular. People are downloading it all the time, continuing to grow, and that's wonderful because we realize people have busy schedules. You have a lot of stuff going on. Not everybody has a luxury to tune in from 3 to 4. So the podcast, you could get that at iTunes, any of all the places you get podcasts. So iTunes is obviously the most popular, one of the most popular spots. And just type in, when you get to iTunes, Real Estate Radio Live, and you should see the icon come up and download the podcast. You could also go to our website, reradiolive.com, and get the podcast there as well. All right, real quick during the show, if you want to communicate with us, we have a couple different ways to do that. One is a live 800 number, 1-800-516-1220 if you want to get your calls on the air. I love calls, love questions. For those that dare, give me a call, check in. I'd love to hear from you. And we get a lot of emails and a lot of texts. So for those people that I say, I'll throw the challenge out there today. Come on, someone call in, take the challenge, and we want to talk to you on the air live. And maybe it's just an outdated thing. I get a lot of emails and a lot of texts during the show, but certainly love to hear from one. If you want to call 1-800-516-1220. For those that want to continue texting, that's great too, 408-838-9060. All right, the topic today is going to be financing for those that are retired, number one, without a job, number two, and or untraditional income. So three things we're going to address today. Because this seems to be, an area that really needs some education. There's a lot of people I talk to within the industry, my clients, even clients that I work with financial planners, and all across the spectrum. It seems that people get nervous and worried when they're retired or going to retire because they don't think they could get financing. That's not true. So I'm going to talk about that. So financing when you're retired. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Also, financing when you don't have a job. I know that sounds funny in a day and age when you thought, no, Joe, those things went away. Don't you have to make money to get a loan? Well, here's the catch. It's a trick question. May not be a trick question, but I said financing for those without a job. Well, just if you don't have a traditional job doesn't mean you don't collect income, right? Could be a trick question. But most people are misled by this, and we're going to educate you a little bit today, I hope, for those that don't quite understand. That's right. You could get financing without a job because people make money in other ways other than having a traditional job. And that's what we're going to talk a little bit about. And then also non-traditional income. What does that mean? Well, do you get income by investments? Do you get income by partnerships? Do you get income by rental income? We're going to talk a little bit about these three things today, and just about this conversation about. I'm going to continue to bring this up every several months, every couple of months. I would say over at least every quarter or so, because this is a topic that comes up in questions I get a lot, quite frankly, by email and calls. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. All right, so let's dive in. Those that are retired. One thing to try to understand, and I'll try to make this as simple as I can. Income is income. And what I mean by that is the way we look at income when we help people with financing is it doesn't matter, for the most part, it doesn't matter, with some caveats, and I'll explain, whether it's W-2 income, whether it's retirement income, pension income. Let's say you get Social Security, that's income. I mean, Social Security is going to last you, right? As long as you're alive and you have Social Security. Pension, some people have pension income that lasts their entire life. And then other people have investment income. For instance, maybe you've saved and you've done a good job in investing, and you have a couple $1 million, let's say, just for sake of examples, in your investment account, and some of those are qualified IRAs. We look at those qualified IRAs, and we could show income, and we could give you income if we need to. So let's talk a little bit. In the first couple segments, I'm going to spend most of the time on just the idea of being retired and being able to get financing, which you can. So let's say you're retired. Good for you, and you've got things squared away. You now no longer have traditional income. And what I mean traditional income is regular income coming in from an employer or a corporation or a business. That part's done. So what you're doing now is, let's just take, for example, you've retired, and let's say you have Social Security and you have some pension. And let's say between Social Security and your pension, you're collecting about $6,000 a month, let's just say, for example, in income. Again, that's income. Doesn't matter how you get it. You get it. If it's steady and if it's you could prove the income will continue and it's validated where it's coming from, income is income. And that's really the point I want to try to get across today. So you're retired, and between your pension and Social Security, let's say you make about $6,000 of gross monthly income from those two components, okay? And now you're out and you're thinking about buying a house. You've just been in this house too long, and maybe you're tired of it, or maybe there's an opportunity for you to move by the beach or in the mountains or by the lake or something you really want, and you think to yourself, well, this is great. I'd love to do this. I could sell my home, and I have this money to put down on a house, but can I get financing? And let's just run through this example. So let's say you're going to sell your house, and you're going to go buy a house for $1 million, and you have $300,000 to $400,000 to put down. So you're going to try to finance. Let's just call it. You're going to try to finance $600,000. Okay. And let's just say, based on your other liabilities, other things you have, maybe you have a car payment, and let's just say you're about, I don't know, $1,500 short a month potentially of qualifying for this particular loan of $600,000. Now, someone that makes $6,000 a month gross, and depending on the interest rate and depending on what other liabilities you have, that might be enough to qualify. You just don't know. But let's just say, for an example, because I'm going to run really through this. This is what happens to some people, is someone will look at your income and you'll say, God, sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you're a little bit short. You have $6,000 a month gross income. We really need about $7,500 a month in gross income to get you to qualify for this financing. And so you find the next question would be, okay, what do we need to do to get that additional $1,500 a month? So we could go look at their retirement and qualified IRAs. Let's say they have $1 million or $500,000 or $600,000 in qualified IRAs. If you're 62 and a half or older, those qualified IRAs could be used. You could tap into those without penalty. And we've done this. We do this all the time. We go to the financial planner of the clients and say, hey, listen, they really want this house. We need about $1,500 more a month income. The numbers we see with the investment they have in their investment portfolio, it looks like we could use an additional $1,500. We could give them that from those qualified IRAs. We get a letter from the financial planner or the institution that states that starting this month, they're going to get an additional $1,500 a month from this account, and they're going to be able to provide that for the next 3 to 5 years. And that's all we need. And it's pretty simple, really. A lot of people complicate this, but it's pretty simple. If you have the means and you have the income or you have the ability to qualify, we're going to try to help to do that. And that's why I want to just stress we're talking specifically about those that are retired. And when we come back, we're going to continue that. All right, I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to come back. We're going to continue talking a little bit about financing those that are retired without a job and untraditional income. This is Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. Stick with us. We're streaming live on Facebook. And if you have any calls, you have any questions, 1-800-516-1220. I'll be back with you to continue the live portion of the show in about 2 minutes.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com.
The world is changing, and so is real estate. It's changing in ways that give consumers more control with more affordable options. So what are your options? Hi, this is Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. I've been on the air educating and informing consumers for over 7 years now. I'm excited to announce that there is now a more efficient and cost-effective way to buy and sell real estate. Our team at Real Estate Radio Live is launching a new program designed to help buyers or sellers like you in real estate, lending, and title. That's right, we'll coordinate the entire transaction for you. So you benefit by working with the same team, saving time and saving money. We'll guarantee you'll not only be working with the most qualified, hand-picked experts in real estate, lending, and title, but you will also save a significant amount of money in all 3 services as well. Act now and benefit from changing the world of real estate. Call 408-838-9060. Go to RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com.
Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for Real Estate Radio Live, Joe Kuchera.
Welcome back in. Thank you again for joining me this afternoon. Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. Appreciate the comments, the feedback, the ongoing support for almost 8 years now. We've been on the radio educating and informing our consumers. We'll continue to do so. And that is the number one focus. Some people might say, well, why do you want to do that? That doesn't really, you don't get net benefits. A lot of when I started this radio show, there's still to this day, and I understand the different business models, but the question is, why are you going to do this if there's no net benefits? If you're not every 10 minutes calling out a number, or I'll sell you a software program, or, for $300 a month, I'll send you a newsletter, or I will promote a seminar and do all the, those are fine for the right people in the right place and what you're trying to accomplish, but really, the reason I did this show and the reason I continue to do this show and put my efforts and energy into it is to inform and educate the consumer. My belief has always been, and in my business with financing for nearly 20 years, and then I brought the same concept in theory to the radio airwaves, is that if you educate people and inform them, and you're honest, and you explain to them different options, different reasons, how you could do things, why you should do things, how to stay away from things, be careful of certain things. It's a process in which you gain trust and build relationships with people. And then people want to do business with you. That's typically the way it works. It doesn't work that way all the time. Some people, relationships aren't important. Some people will do business with anybody if they feel like they could get the cheapest deal or the best deal. That's fine. I mean, everybody has their own philosophy and how they approach things. But my philosophy, my take is, if I give information and education to people and help them become wise consumers or more wise consumers to the arena, the real estate area, whether it's real estate buying, selling, financing, then my hopes is when they get ready to buy a home, sell a home, finance a home, that they contact me and I could help them with these things. And our network of people here at Real Estate Radio Live could help them with these things. And that is the benefit of growing a network. When you do things this long, you align yourself with people you trust and people you know that can get the job done. And for me, the most important thing is aligning yourself and surrounding yourself with people who treat it like a business. I could tell you that it's not a popular conversation and it's not a popular thing that people want to hear in my industry, and that's lending and real estate. But easily 80%, easily, and you can make a case for 90, but we'll go conservative. 80% of the people in our prospective business, real estate and lending, do not treat it like a business. They just don't. Does that mean they're bad people? No, not at all. Not whatsoever. What I mean they don't treat it like a business is they are more interested in a commission or closing a deal than they are in satisfying the customer and getting referrals and taking good care of the customer and exceeding expectations so that they continue to build their business. And those are the people that do a great job, and those are the people I'd like to see succeed because they spend time, energy, money, resources on their business, building their business. The sad part is maybe 20% of our industry does that, maybe, and there's probably less. And the reason I bring that up, the reason you'll hear this on my show on a regular basis is a reminder that when you get ready to make a decision, a big decision like buying a house, selling a house, financing a home, which contractor to use, which electrician to use, all these things are big decisions financially. Don't do it for chance. Don't take the chance that just wing it or flip a coin and decide who you're going to use. If you don't have someone you trust, let me know, and we'll set you up with someone that we think that you'll trust, not only trust, that will be able to exceed your expectations. In all this, in all of real estate, we'll continue to do that. And you're going to be introduced to some things in 2000 as we fold out, as we really wrap up 2017 and go into 2018. Stay tuned for a lot of new exciting programs that are coming that we'll be launching, partnerships, different things that are going to help make better use of technology for you, the consumer, with real estate transactions, with lending, with title and escrow. That's the goal. That's what we'll continue to do. So stay tuned for that. Let's get back to the financing of those that are retired and without jobs and those that have untraditional income. So let me spend a little more time on the person that's retired because we get this question a lot. So real quick, again, a quick summary. If you're retired, the answer is yes. You still could get financing. And I'll answer some quick questions that I get on a regular basis. I have 3 or 4 here that I brought into the show. So the other question I get a lot is, Joe, number one, right? If I'm retired, can I get financing? Yes. Another question I get a lot. Okay, but how will they look at my income, and is W-2 income the same as retirement income or pension or Social Security? Yes, it's the same. It's no different. Matter of fact, you can make a case. This is a crazy industry. It really is. You can make a case that the person with Social Security and pension has more security than a person with a W-2 income earning job. You can make a case of that. What's funny is our industry, we'll underwrite a loan and we'll look at, W-2 income, right? Great, this person's making $150,000 a year. Great, W-2. We could confirm that. We could document that. We're good to go. That person could lose their job tomorrow. It's not funny that they could lose their job tomorrow, but what's funny is our industry, the way we look at income sometimes and how we profile in terms of what we do. It's a little comical sometimes, to be honest with you, of those people that make up the rules, because seriously, if you have a person that's retired and Social Security will continue, and they have a contract that says their pension will continue, right? You could argue a very good case that, hey, listen, that retired person's a better risk than the person that's got a W-2, right? The only reason I talk about this and bring these up as examples is that to really, our industries, and not just our industry to be fair, some of the archaic thinking, it just blows my mind sometimes. The backward way that we think in financing and real estate and title and escrow. I'm going to do some shows in the next coming weeks I'm really excited about. As you know, every week, every Tuesday, unless there's a guest or something going on, we try to focus on the future of real estate and lending. And we talk about new technologies that are coming. Things are going to be changing this industry. And I'm going to be talking more and more about that. The way we do things today in some ways are just crazy, and that'll change. It takes time, especially when you're dealing with a very regulatory body, like something like lending, financing, financial services. There's a lot of compliance regulatory issues around that. So retired person, absolutely, you're making that income. As long as you could document, which we can, you could get that loan like anyone else. Now, the nice thing about if you're retired, I talked a little bit about too, if you need additional income and you have retirement assets, we could look at those retirement assets and actually give you additional income. So, to summarize before we close out this segment right now, don't be nervous, don't be afraid, don't be shy if you're retired. Give me a call, check in if you have any questions at all, and we want to help to answer those questions. And we want to help, put your mind at ease that when you're retired, or if you're getting ready to retire, or if you're in, that income is income, and we're going to be able to get you that loan if you qualify. All right, we're going to take another quick break. When I come back, I'm going to jump more into those without jobs. That's right. Someone might be saying, without a job? I thought you need a job. Trick question. You just need income. So how are you getting income? There are other ways to get income other than a job. Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. Stick with us, Facebook Live streaming. I'll be back with you to live part of the show here in just a couple minutes.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com.
Hi, this is Joe Kuchera of Real Estate Radio Live. Thanks for tuning into our podcast. We are your go-to resource for all aspects of real estate, including buying, selling, refinancing, building, and legal and tax advice, and much more. You can subscribe to Real Estate Radio Live podcast on iTunes and Stitcher to listen to an engaging discussion about anything and everything real estate. So make sure you get our app, RE Radio Live, in the iTunes store to follow the show.
Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for Real Estate Radio Live, Joe Kuchera.
Welcome back in. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live as we roll through the show, segment 3. Underway of a total of segment 4 that we have, 4 segments I should say. So we're with you for another 12 to 15 minutes. If you have any questions for us and you want to get your calls on the air, 1-800-516-1220. We do have 2 texts here I'll get a chance to read if I can, if they're not too lengthy. If you want to text your questions in, it's 408-838-9060 if you want to text those questions in. The topic today is financing for those that are retired, without jobs, and without traditional income. So a little mixed bag and all that. And the first 2 segments I talked a little focused more on those that are retired. Now I'm going to shift gears a little bit and talk about the person without a job. And I love that statement because it always gets people's attention when you say that. And when you put the words together, financing with someone without a job, the eyes get really wide and they think, are you crazy? We're not back to 2004 and 2005, are we? No, we're not back to 2004 and 2005, thank goodness. We are in 2017, and when I say financing without a job, remember, it's not really intended to be a trick question, but it's true. You, a person, anyone, could get income monthly, yearly, on a regular basis without having a job. Now, this is more common, and I don't think it, takes people by surprise or shock as it would have maybe 20 years ago, because you have so many entrepreneurs, you have so many people that are running businesses, sole proprietorships. You have a lot of people, I'll tell you, one of the ones that I see here in Silicon Valley that's pretty common is someone will maybe work for a startup, or they'll start a company and they'll sell it, or they'll cash out some stocks, or they'll exercise their stock options, and then next thing you know, maybe they've done really well. I've seen this happen. I could tell you at least a dozen times in the last couple of years I've helped people finance without a job. So there's a couple of, you could, again, let's set the stage for what's without a job mean. So one of the ones we see quite a bit, that I see quite a bit, is someone is in a high-tech company or a startup company, and they do really well, and they cash out, and they say, you know what, I want to take a break. I made a lot of money. I worked really hard the last 6 or 7 or 8 years, and you know what, I'm going to take 2 or 3 years off. I'm going to travel. I'm going to maybe build a home, do some things that I haven't been able to do, and then I think I'll go back to work in a couple of years. And let's say this person's, 40 years old, 45 years old. So they're not technically retirement age, but this happens from time to time, especially here. And so what do? You find out how you could give this person income. So how do you give a person income that has, let's call it, let's say they did pretty well. Let's say $10 million. So how do you give a person income that has $10 million of investable assets or cash assets, investments, et cetera, how do you give them income? Well, here's how you give them income. There's a couple different ways to do it. Let's say you have a person that is just what I suggested, taking some time off, no job. They don't intend to work. They'll tell you that. Listen, I'm not going to get a job for 2 years, Joe, but I need a loan for $1 million to do this construction I want to do. I want to build my house. I bought this land. I own the land free and clear. I want $1 million construction loan now, Joe, because I want to build my dream house. And guess what? I want to do this working with contractors. I don't want to have to work while this happens. I want to enjoy it. And here's what I'm going to do. And this is a real story, by the way. I've had 2 people that kind of did the same thing in the last couple of years. So what we do is we look at their assets. So let's say they have $5 million. And there is a formula which we use, and it is called, in our industry, is called asset depletion. It's a process of us taking a look at those assets. And let's say $5 million that they have. All right? Investable assets. And there's a formula that we use, and we come up with an interest rate depending on the type of loan they're going to use, and we multiply that interest rate by 12, by potentially what their payment is, and then over at least a 5-year period, and then we figure out how much money they're going to need if we were to use that $5 million in income. And it's a little difficult to kind of go through on radio, certainly, of course, when you're listening. I know some people are tuning in via Facebook live streaming. But there's a formula that we could use. And let's say with formulas we need, $15,000 a month income to afford the loan that we're trying to do for him. So so we need $150,000 a year, right? $150,000 a year. Okay? How long is that going to last you? With a rate of appreciation or rate of investment, rate of return, I should say. Anyway, this formula comes out, and he has plenty of enough money for us to give him $15,000 a month for the next 5 years through these investments. Now, are the interest rates going to be, the very best in the marketplace? No. Interest rates will be a little higher, not too bad, but they're going to be higher. And the reason why it's sad, this is really sad when you think about it. The reason why the interest rates are going to be a little higher because lenders and investors don't have an appetite for these type of loans. And it's crazy to me. It is. This business is nuts, and you'll hear me get sidetracked every once in a while when this kind of stuff comes up because it makes no sense, right? We will give an FHA loan to someone, and this is no disrespect, but I'm just giving you an example. As an industry, we will give someone a loan with 3.5% down and none of their money, all gift funds with a 600 credit score and a 50% debt-to-income ratio. We will do that loan all day long on FHA. But we won't do a loan. All right, listen, follow me here. We won't do a loan for someone that has $5 million in the bank and wants to borrow $500,000 or $1 million over a period of time with an 800 credit score, over $5 million in the bank, a couple of properties, one owned free and clear. Look at those two profiles, ladies and gentlemen. Now, again, please understand, I don't do this to denigrate or segregate or separate the difference between the person with $5 million and the person that's buying an FHA home. I don't do it for that reason. I do it because to explain how messed up our lending system is in a lot of different ways. The way of thinking. Lending is supposed to be a risk-based concept, or I should say activity, right? It's risk-reward. The less risk the lender takes on, then you should get the better terms. And when the lender has to take on more risk, guess what? Then you should get worse terms. And that's really, honestly, that's like lending basic 101. It's a risk-based activity. And so it's a little backwards that way, the way our lending works, but that's the way it is. The main theme today, on today's show, is I want to let you know, those out there that don't have a job, but you have assets and you have money in other locations coming from other areas, you could get financing. The financing may not be the very same, very cheapest long-term 30-year fix that, that's out there from time to time. It could be a little bit higher. Most likely it will be, to be honest with you. But it's out there. And it's available for those out there that don't have jobs, but they have the investments or assets elsewhere that we could produce and we could manufacture income. We could use those assets to manufacture income. It's called asset depletion. There's a few other things it's called, but that's the main thing that's called in this industry. These are things that I really want to get you to understand. If you're out there listening or watching, or you're listening to this via podcast, and you're either retired or maybe taking a break, or you're in between jobs or whatever, but you have income and you have other streams of income, you could still get financing. Everybody's situation is different. You can never sit here and promise everybody could get financing. I'm not suggesting that, but I am suggesting that give it a chance, reach out. If you have any questions, that's what we're here for, to answer those questions, to answer all of them, and the ones that we can. If we can't get answers, we'll make sure we get them and get back to you for sure. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take a break in a minute or so, and then we're going to roll into our final segment, which is about 7 minutes or so. And what I'm going to do is really finish up now and in the last segment, more so untraditional income. I'm going to dig a little deeper, unpack that a little bit more, untraditional income. And then I'm also going to talk a little bit about leveraging. I did this the other day, I think last week or so, leveraging assets for down payments and leveraging assets to purchase property and those types of things. The reason why I'm going to bring up leveraging assets, hard assets like property, along with income is because they kind of go hand in hand if you're trying to qualify, or if you need some creative ways to qualify. They go hand in hand. All right, so take a quick break right now. Again, for those people that are watching Facebook, we're streaming live. Stay with us. We're going to come back. We're going to take about a 2-minute break. We're going to come back, and we're going to finish up with about a 7-minute For those listening live, if you want to get your calls on the air, 1-800-516-1220, or you could text 408-838-9060. Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. We'll be back with you to finish up in just a couple minutes.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com.
The world is changing, and so is real estate. It's changing in ways that give consumers more control with more affordable options. So what are your options? Hi, this is Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. I've been on the air educating and informing consumers for over 7 years now. I'm excited to announce that there is now a more efficient and cost-effective way to buy and sell real estate. Our team at Real Estate Radio Live is launching a new program designed to help buyers or sellers like you in real estate, lending, and title. That's right, we'll coordinate the entire transaction for you. So you benefit by working with the same team, saving time and saving money. We'll guarantee you'll not only be working with the most qualified, hand-picked experts in real estate, lending, and title, but you will also save a significant amount of money in all three services as well. Act now and benefit from changing the world of real estate. Call 408-838-9060. Go to RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com.
Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for Real Estate Radio Live, Joe Kuchera.
Welcome back in. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. As we wind down the show, just about 7 minutes left. If you have any questions, 1-800-516-1220 if you want to get your calls on the air. I will read one of these text messages here in a second. The other one's a little lengthy and probably a little more detailed. In just a minute before we go off the air. Today the topic has been income or helping finance those that are retired without jobs, and also untraditional income. How do you get someone financing? That's the big question. How do you help someone with financing when they're either retired or they don't have a job, or maybe they get untraditional, what we call untraditional income, that you might look at and go, that's strange, I haven't heard of that before. Or can that be qualified as income? Can be considered income? Well, it's not always the case, but money is money, income is income, assets are assets, and what I mean by that is there's different ways to get income. And those of you that are business owners, you understand what I'm talking about. Those of you that are partners, part of LLCs, partnerships, corporations, you understand all this more than some people might because of the different ways you could get income. There's even It's tough. You have to have it for a long period of time, but you may have heard the restricted stock units. They're referred to as RSUs typically in the high-tech industry. We see that a lot when we do financing for people who work with high-tech companies, not just high-tech, but a lot of them get what's called restricted stock units, and that they're referred to as RSUs. And some people get these each year, and they exercise them each year. And some investors will use that as income as well. So there's a lot of different things going on that are a lot different than it was 20 years ago or plus when it comes to financing. All right, before we end up, so I'm going to finish up today just talking a little bit untraditional income. We covered the retirement aspect. If you don't have a job but you have assets, you could still get income. There's a formula in which we can convert assets to income. And the last thing is untraditional income and maybe leverage of properties. So I'm going to mix these two, and the reason why is they kind of go hand in hand a little bit together. So untraditional income might be someone, I'll tell you, this happens every once in a while. I've seen this just a couple of months ago. Someone that's retired and they get Social Security only, but they have no pension and they have very little reserves, okay? But they have 4 or 5 properties that they own free and clear, and they're collecting rents on. And some people might say, well, that's not income. Yes, that's income. That is income. That's rental income, and it's marked other because it's not traditional income, but it's income. So we've done loans for people that have very little retirement assets. Technically, if you look at Social Security, no pension, they don't make enough to qualify. But then you go over and you look at their rental properties and you think, wow, they're getting $7,000 a month net rent. $7,000 a month. And guess what? They have leases on all these properties, all for a minimum of a year. That's income. It's income. We could use that. So keep that in mind too. There's other forms of income. Some people get trust income. You know, these things, again, a lot of people aren't used to seeing or hearing, but there's trust income. Some people will receive that, and the legal documents prove that they're going to receive that for 10, 15, 20 plus years or more. Alimony, child support, partnership income, annuities. Some of these things are pretty creative. I've seen some people with some pretty nice annuities. Annuities, they're going to pay you $500,000 a year for the next 2 years. The next 10 years. I did a loan for a gentleman that left a high-tech company, and part of his deal is that he got paid. It was almost $1 million a year for the next 5 years as part of his buyout. It's there. It's in writing. It's guaranteed. That's what he's going to get. That's income. He no longer had a job. These things are real. They happen. I'm not saying they happen to everybody. I know it's a small percent, but it's enough to know that there's other ways to get this income. Lastly, along with that, remember that you could leverage property when putting together purchase transactions or even strategies of getting financing. And I'm not going to go into more detail because I don't have time, but we've done it before, leveraging property. We've talked about that before. Now, that comes in handy when you're also doing stuff like this. If you have properties owned free and clear, there's a lot of things that investors will do by cross-collateralizing the properties that you have, using that for down payment money. And this is more strategic when you're talking about a purchase. I just want to finish up the show by reminding everybody, don't be shy, don't be afraid, don't be nervous about asking questions. If you're retired and you don't have a job or you get income that we would consider untraditional income, it's great. We want to be able to help everybody. We live in a society where there's enough anxiety, there's enough turmoil, there's enough conflict, there's enough people pitting sides against each other. Why don't we try to live in more of a world where we could help each other and do what's right by each other? And this is as simple a thing as financing and helping people in real estate, but it's a big deal. For most people, it's one of the biggest things they'll do in their life. And so we want to be here to help you with that. So continue to keep that in mind. All right, unfortunately, we're out of time. Thank you so much for tuning in. For those that are tuning in via Facebook, thank you so much. We're getting thousands of views per show. I appreciate that. Continue to stay in touch. Remember, download the podcast at reradiolive.com. This is Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. Thank you, all of you, for tuning in via live stream, via the radio, and later on podcast. Have a great afternoon. We'll be back with you tomorrow. Take care.
You've been listening to Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's program, visit reradiolive.com. That's reradiolive.com. Tune in, log in, download our podcast. Discover more at reradiolive.com. reradiolive.com.